There we go. So I will again call the meeting to order. This is the Public Service Committee meeting, Monday, December 16th. It is 6 o'clock. And is Reese or who's taking, you can, a roll call or, okay. Thank you. We do have a quorum. Recital of the Pledge of Allegiance. Mackenzie, could I ask you to lead us? Thank you. Next is for approval of minutes. There's August 19th. Is there any discussion or a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Bill. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Matt. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Public comment. I have one person registering to vote or speak. I hope you're registered to vote too, but. Ann, is it Seeker? If you could state your name and address for the record and then we'll stop. Yep, push the be green.
Okay. Ann Seacher, 409 Mayapple Circle. I'm speaking for myself and my husband, Jim Seacher. We have several items to present. First, we would like to compliment the Public Services staff for their hard work over the past few months. The crew did an amazing job cleaning up after the storm earlier this spring, which all area citizens appreciated. And we know it was a ton of extra work. Construction of the planters near the library and the annuals that are planted in them have made the library and village offices more inviting. The rapid cleanup of graffiti on the park benches and in the restrooms is also very frustrating work and much appreciated. We have also noticed the extra efforts made to engage citizens in various events such as invasive plant pulling, Arbor Day activities, information booths in the park, open house events, nature activities, erosion information, dedicating a park to Dale Jenkins, and surveys regarding the CORP plan. Please pass our thanks on to village employees who would appreciate knowing that citizens do notice and value their efforts. Regarding the draft updates to the new 5-year CORP documents, we have read the drafts of the plan and appendices and are encouraged that the plan includes input from DeForest citizens. We feel this shows transparency and that the village is interested in what area citizens think is important for our community, and that those responsible for the plan are open to receiving and listening to citizen input. The plan mentions establishing a Friends of DeForest Parks group as a short-term goal, and we are interested in pursuing this idea. We would like to collaborate with a designated village employee to get this group activated. There are many citizens who would gladly support our area parks if a group such as this existed. We think a friends group could assist with planting, weeding, watering, kiosk information updating, invasive plant pulling, notifying citizens of upcoming volunteer and village-sponsored activities, signing up folks to adopt storm sewers, fundraising, and whatever else might be of benefit to our community and to help the village staff. We do have one request as far as clarification information in the draft of the CORP plan. There are several written and map illustrated sections in the plan that identify natural, sensitive, protected, preserved, wetland, and river corridor areas. We feel strongly that the draft plan does not adequately indicate both on maps and in text as natural or protected areas the following locations: the entire Yahara River corridor north of the South Street Bridge, the old oak savannas in Western Green, and the Western Green Prairie. We do realize that there are several other small local parks that have limited sections of natural areas and old growth forests as well, and mapping each natural area may be very time consuming. However, considering that at a minimum, 2/3 or more of the 61.4 acres in Western Green are comprised of designated protected natural areas that are to be preserved in their natural state. We ask that this correction be made in the court plan before it's finalized. Paths in Western Green area clearly delineate where the prairie begins at the east end of the circular loop next to the mowed athletic field. And then the prairie continues west all the way to River Road. So correcting the map should be fairly easy. Also, we request that Western Green natural areas be included in the list of natural areas that is found on page 14 of the plan. These revisions will not only provide clarity, but will align the wording regarding Western Green found elsewhere in your document with the various maps throughout the plan. Numerous citizens have voiced support for continued protection and preservation of this large and sensitive natural area. So wildlife, protected and endangered plants, old growth trees, the restored prairie, and the river will continue to be permanently protected for future generations to enjoy without fear of unnecessary disturbance. How far did I go over? Thank you for letting me say the whole thing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Anne, along with her public hearing sign up, she did give me a copy of what she just read, so I'll pass it on to staff. And Anne, I'm hoping somebody on the staff already has your email, or if you could reach out to them. Yep, I'm guessing so. So that is the end of the public comment. I don't believe there's anybody else online except for Reese. So I will close the public comment section. And again, thank you guys for coming. Number 6 is presentations. And the first one was the capital improvement plan, if I remember it right.
Yep. So we, every year we have a capital improvement plan that we put together. Judd and I put it together for public services, and then get input from the PD and other areas. This year, hit the wrong button. There we go. All right, so the first item here is public services. We're looking at, not a bus, but we are looking at this, the lifts, vehicle lifts for our dump trucks, our pickup trucks, in our mechanic shop. They'll lift up to 56,000 pounds. They'll help keep our mechanic from laying on the floor, and will be a lot safer to lift our vehicles, especially if he's got to go underneath and do work. He's not laying on his back. This will increase efficiencies in tire rotations and vehicle repairs. There's 4 lift stands and then accessories to go with it. Since this year is the first year that we took on all the police departments' vehicle oil changes, and if we get these, we'll do their tire rotations as well, which is actually a really big savings for the PD. I think they're saving $4,000 or $5,000 just on oil changes alone, with Tim doing them. Next item, every 7 years or so, we trade out our factor truck. It's our sewer, stormwater, jet vac, cleans the sewers, cleans storm sewers, and we use it for water main breaks as well. We've noticed in the past, we'd let it go longer than 7 years. The first one we got, we had for 10 years, we started seeing a lot of maintenance issues. And at the time, the administrator said, let's trade out at 7 years. We get more money for the trade-in value, and we don't see the wear and tear on them. So that's coming this year. We'll be looking at 2 Aaron's Mammoth snow machines. These machines will be used for snow removal on sidewalks and trails. mainly used on sidewalks. They'll fit down a 4 to 5 foot sidewalk, no problem. Right now, all of our equipment's over 5 feet wide. So anytime we go down the sidewalk, we're tearing all the sod up, making for more work. And so we've been doing it by hand, either by shovel or snow blower, and it takes a full day to get all of our sidewalks done. If not, we have to come back to it, the next day. So there'll be a lot of efficiencies with the snow, removal. And let's see, yearly trade-ins, so every year we trade in our Skag mowers, or one Skag mower, it's an every other year trade-in, because they get beat up. When we have, 150 acres of land that we mow roughly. Skid steer and tool cats, we trade in yearly for $4,500 and $5,500. Never see any issues because we trade them out every year, so we don't have the maintenance costs. Trade in street chipper truck. So this truck's gonna be 10 years old next year, so that's the life cycle of our trucks, is when we trade out is 10 years. So we got this 4-inch cutter attachment for the tool cat and skid steer. This tool is gonna help us get into stormwater basins, river edges, and prairie areas to cut down invasive trees and weeds that we would normally cut down by hand. So this will definitely save a lot of time and energy in our stormwater basins and parks. Our yard waste site, we're looking to add more bunkers. 2 extra bunkers will be mainly used for gravel and dirt storage. And at times in the fall would be overflow bins, or if we get a big snow or a storm damage event like we had earlier in the spring, we could open that up for more brush bins. Let's see. So on to like park trails or trails, Highway V trail installation. We're working with the county, the railroad, to install a multi-use trail on Highway V from Helzer Street to Main Street. We're working on getting grants for this. Hopefully we'll find out soon if we get that grant. Highway V reconstruction and resurfacing project, Main Street to Helzer. That's slated for next year. We're coordinating with Dane County. They'll be resurfacing from Highway V to Stevenson Street, and then or Stevenson to Helzer, and then reconstruct to Main Street to Nelson Court with railroad track improvements. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but they did do some minor overlays that are definitely temporary. We're hoping that they're still on the same page as us as moving forward with this project next year. So. Stevenson Street resurfacing and Burton Boulevard resurfacing. So Stevenson will be from Highway V to roughly the dog park, and Burton Boulevard from Stevenson to Little Potato. These projects are partially paid for with TIF dollars. So I believe the TIF is ending next year, the expenditure period. So we need to spend that money now and get these roads up to par. Dennis Drive reconstruction project. This will be all new sewer, water and storm, asphalt and road base. Water main has aged and we have water main breaks on this road. We don't even flush the hydrants on that road because we always get a water main break when we do. So this will be a difficult project. We'll be working with residents to minimize the impacts because it's a dead end road. I know typically a lot of people use that gravel road just to the north, but that is private land, so we cannot use that as a detour route, so. So we're looking at possibly sewer lining to minimize the road excavation and things like that, so. Let's see. Resurfacing, we've got South Street from Main, the hill, right up here. And then South Hill Street, Meadow Lane, South Hill Street from south to just past Meadow Lane. And then Meadow Lane to Woodvale, will be all resurfacing. We do also have another section on South Street from River Road Bend to Mayapple. Just a little section there. Innovation Drive, Red Spire Lane to Upper Harbor Trail Crossing right before the bridge. It's a resurfacing project, and this is also a TIF project. So that's all paid for by the TIF, and that expenditure period ends next year as well. As we're getting more developments popping up, future talks here, we're looking at reconstructing Hickory Lane, which is off of Highway V, south of Highway V. Green Acres, I don't know if that's gonna be a parkway or road, but that's gonna be reconstructed to have curb and gutter. Right now it's gravel, and we maintain that currently. Cake Parkway will be extended to Green Acres. That'll be reconstructed and be curb and gutter as well. And this is all TIF or developer assessed funded, so won't be coming out of the taxpayers. And it's all dependent on development, so. 10-9 sanitary sewer extension of Coast Circle. As we see developments coming to the north of Culver's areas that we've annexed, we need to extend our sanitary sewer. So right now, we've got new sewer main down at the end of Coast Circle, which will extend up north of Highway V up to Holiday Court. So we're looking at that. North Town Road, Pepsi Way, north to Quick Trip boundary, Zaire Road. So this is gonna be continuance of Pepsi Way down to 51. This is where Quick Trip site is currently. Their distribution center is right here. They've got a truck maintenance shop right here, fleet maintenance, and then there'll be a doctor's office for their employees right here. Pepsi Way will be under construction here shortly with sewer, water, and we're hoping to get it paved before winter. North Town Road and Zaire Road. Zaire Road is this little offshoot here. That'll be completed next year. Up to North Town will be up to here, and future, once they get more development, then we'll connect to 19. So as part of the Quick Trip project and the Yards project, signalization of Highway 51 will occur. This most likely will take place next year. Improvements will include signals, turn lanes, closing driveway entrances, and improved overall safety of this intersection. Privately funded with some possible public funds.
Where exactly is it?
You know where Pine Cone is? Right at that intersection. Yep. Let's see. Liberty Land Trail repaving. So we're gonna remove the existing asphalt trail. It's starting to see a lot of wear and tear. Public service staff will be paving the trail, and we'll be looking to add some solar lights like we had at the high school. Yeah. Canoe launches and stream bank and habitat restoration projects. Currently, we're looking at a fairly large project for next year on the stream bank. Restoration project that's gonna go out for bid in probably January. And we're working on more grants as well. Fund 221 park improvements. So this fund will help us improve existing parks and look at future parks designs. So what we're looking to do is develop some design plans we've got to replace the splash pad at Conservancy Commons. It's aged, we need to start looking at what are we gonna replace it with. North Industrial Park remnant land, that's up here behind Dickman property off of North Stevenson Street, right next to the dog park, just north of the dog park. It's right here, butts up against East Yahar Road. We're gonna look into what we can do with that property. Peterson Crossing Park, next to Ziggy Ball Field. We've got a 2-acre park, I believe. There, Rivers Turn Park, they're gonna be finishing their development this year. So there'll be a road actually to the park now, so we'll need to figure out what kind of design will go there. We're acquiring, I'll show you in a minute. Baki Sensory Park, we're acquiring a Baki parcel off of Highway V. Ivor Munson, looking to do some designs for that, which will be in the Heritage Gardens area. Shane O'Donnell Park, looking to get some designs at that park as well. And Dale Jenkins Park. I'll come back to the map and talk about the parks here shortly. We're also looking at Sunfish Pond fishing piers. Looking to add 1 or 2 more fishing piers at Sunfish Pond. There's a lot of weeds along the edges, so kids are always constantly losing their bobbers and hooks and everything. And if we can extend the piers out just a little bit more, and a little more space for the kids to go, we're looking to do that. Let's see, park improvements, we're still on that. Looking at solar trail lights, I guess stated on Liberty Land Trail, we're looking to add those lights there. Seeding of the North Industrial Park. Here's Stevenson Street. Yard waste site is down here. It's a new Dickman warehouse or Porter Pipe Supply. It's actually gonna be here. This is that little remnant 6-acre parcel. So we gotta seed that. Right now it's weeds, so we're just mowing weeds every.
Greg, can you
Couple
pull or
months.
point to the dog park parking just for people's reference?
It's down here. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's right here. Yep. We're looking to do a Gaga pit at Delgate Jenkins Park. It's one of the portable ones that we have like over here at Fireman's Park. Relatively inexpensive. Looking at ADA drinking fountain at Conservancy Commons. Part of the court plan, states that we should add a ADA drinking fountain there. And it also states a bike repair station at Sunnybrook Park. It's kind of in the middle between Western Green and Sunfish Pond, so that'll be a good location for a bike repair station. Police Department, they're looking at 2 control cars with complete setup. stealth stat, better stats for statistics for traffic counts, speeds, directions of travel, and easy to download. So the PD will put these out. You'll probably see them every once in a while with little solar panels on like light poles or any post out there. They'll set those up, they'll get traffic counts, and actually they send them to us, and it's very useful for, we can share them with the engineers. So it's kind of used for both PD and Public Works. They're looking for in-car video for their police cars, for all their
Cameras.
Yep. Public, let's see, facilities, maintenance, facilities, we're looking at court boardroom improvements. So the court clerk office right now, we're looking at removing this window and putting the window over here. This will help better, customer service for the court clerk. She'll be able to look out to see who's in line, because right now she can't see anybody who's in line and how many are there. So we're looking at moving that along with the boardroom improvements. So we're looking at the new dais with recessed video monitors. So basically from Dawn to Mackenzie, that'll be all new with, this will be stationary and all the monitors will be in the tables. Protective glass coatings, so anything that's basically 7 feet, that'll be all bullet resistant coating. We're looking, what's that?
Slow it down.
Yeah, but it's yeah, I think. So, limestone benches right outside the windows, and then we'll add ballards out front. This will all help prevent cars from ramming through the walls and the windows. Secondary access to outside. This window right here, behind you would become a doorway, emergency exit only, no windows in there. And then we'd upgrade the technology, and camera systems for this room. Let's see. Kind of an overall view of the capital improvement plan here with costs. You know, it's quite a lot, but total project plan cost is about 14 million total. And let's see, we got over 5 million in TIF costs.
This is just a little different than maybe you've seen in the past years, but so the capital projects funds, there's a total of 6 million. Then there's the utilities, next sets here, right? So the water utility have about 616,000, the sewer utility is 1.5, the stormwater 536, and then the Fund 221 development is about 43,500. TID 2, TID 5, TID 6, and TID 9 all have expenditures in there, so that's probably doing 6 million, yeah, some quick math-ish. So and then there's some offsetting revenues down below. You know, so there's grant funds that we hope to get for the Highway V project. We've got general funds, committed funds that'll be used for the board and courtroom improvements. We've got grants already in for the Stream Bank rehabilitation program that we'll be utilizing. Additional funds on hand for the stormwater utility and the Fund 221 park development. So these funds on hand are for the park development are what we get from developers for park improvement fees. We've got a sizable amount of money there, some of which we need to start to use before the time runs out. We got to give it back. So that's what we'll be doing with some of these projects. And then we started the Fund 400 equipment replacement program. So rather than budgeting for, or borrowing for all of our equipment. Most of that stuff is here with leftover funds. And so that'll be, this new line item is here. We'll handle all of those equipment purchases. And then additional revenues applied, that we have, there. So total borrowing is about 3 million for the taxpayer for the, and the general fund portion of the taxes, so to speak. And Carol will probably explain this much better than I, and she can hold me to it later, but, so questions on anything through here?
GIS.
Are we gonna be using,
Eric,
meetings with the,
Eric, just a second, may I interrupt because Bill had his hand up first.
Those errands, those are pretty snappy little units. What do they cost a piece? 15?
So total with all the implements, for two of them were 48,000, so 24,000 a piece.
No, that's a ride-on?
Those are ride-ons, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I understand the efficiency over snow blowers.
Yeah.
Years ago, we had articulated unit, remember that?
Yep, yep.
That Rick had to have at 60 grand, and I'm not sure how well it worked.
We didn't have very good luck with it.
Yeah,
It was being repaired more than it was being used.
that's my understanding, yeah. So that'd be out of Fund 400?
Yep, yep,
Okay.
that's capital.
Okay, what does the lift cost?
The lift.
Vehicle lift?
Oh, so the vehicle lift, it's got a hefty price tag. It's around 78,000.
Are we crawling underneath vehicles that often, or?
Tim is on our vehicles all the time.
Yeah.
He tries to utilize the oil pit as much as possible, but, a lot of times you have to lift the vehicle up. He's taken apart the, the brake systems and the
Right.
airbag systems, and just to be able, he's a little older gentleman, and, to keep him around, he's a very, good at,
Do we have,
employee,
it's
yeah.
gonna dedicate a lane, right?
No, so these move.
Oh, they
They're,
will
you can
move.
roll them everywhere.
Oh,
You can
okay,
use a lot of the vehicles, or a lot of times we'll use two of them on the front and back of the
Right.
pickup truck or even the police cars.
right.
So it's the accessories, that add quite a bit to the price tag too, so.
Oh, okay, I was just wondering, because a lot of this stuff wasn't presented, back before it was presented to the board. The CAID cutter, I'd see value in that. I'm surprised we don't have that already.
Yeah,
They're
actually,
really handy for all the woods. So what do we have now? A basic flail chopper?
yeah, just one, a 3-point that goes behind the tractor. But you can't get
You can't get in
nearly
areas.
places where you can with this, and you can get up high. So Village, I saw it, like 2 months ago, Village of Windsor's got one, and they're on their trail system, taking like,
Right,
up on their trees.
yeah.
The
Oh, I'm surprised we
more
don't
invasive
have one of
ones.
those already. Yeah, Meadow Lane, that's in poor shape. I know people have been complaining about that, walking. I don't get out there that often, but years ago it looked pretty bad. That's one thing, everybody wants new streets, but like Dennis Drive, they're gonna have to have some pain. I don't wanna say pain, but inconvenience, but we won't have to worry about that. Green Acres, they've got a pit or a gravel pit down there. 20 years ago, there was real concern about truck traffic when they wanted to put in a place, they were gonna tear up the road. I think, I forgot what's the name of the truck, Munson was gonna come in there And then the concern was about tearing up the road. And then Munson disappeared, and then Evans all of a sudden expanded the gravel pit. Now, is that gravel pit done? Or,
I think he's
No.
got 10 years.
because we're gonna put a brand new roads in there, and gravel trucks are probably the worst offenders.
So there's life left available there, but he also has ways if he wants to, if the right amount comes along, he can, I guess, close that at any time as well. So is what I've heard. Not heard that from him, but that's what I've heard from others. So,
The gravel trucks are probably the worst for tearing up, especially a 90-degree turn.
so for this section here, if anything's gonna be done, it's gonna be Cake Parkway. We already have an interested party in developing this parcel here. And then they may develop, across the street, which might trigger Green Acres, to be done. So those are all, again, as development comes, those will be each developed. We need to formulate an overall plan for this section though. Cause Hickory Lane, we may want to shave some of this hill down, which affects how Green Acres interplays into that. Once it gets down to here, this is probably about the elevation. Maybe Cake Parkway would come up a little, but this is about the elevation we'd want. And then where the BMX track is, that would have to, I'm told they're not really supposed to be there any longer, but they're still there. But there'd be a lot of work that needs to be done in that section to have that.
My main concern is 5 years down the road, we put the road in and the gravel pit decides they're gonna do the interstate, because the interstate's gonna 5-6 years, like they did 20 years ago. And the road gets tore up. Is there gonna be any guarantees that he'll repair damage? I know other communities have those type of guarantees from gravel pits to repair.
We would have to work with them when that time comes. If the gravel pit is still there and they're running on those, then we would have to work out something like that.
Okay, that's just a concern. Northtown by Quick Trip, I see up to the stoplights, almost they've got a rough, not in the black, but a continuation. There isn't any sewer or water underneath. That's just basic grading, ready for
Correct.
2 feet of rock, and we'd have to dig that out for sewer and, okay. I just noticed that going by. Gentac and the police cars, we have that already? What is that?
Yeah, they have it already. That's just updating to the software, the
The control box?
control box modules. These would be good questions tomorrow when the PD's here. The capital improvement plan, this is the first time anybody's seen it. It'll be presented tomorrow at the village board for the first time. So the police department can probably better answer these questions. But my understanding is this is in-car stuff that is outdated and starting to fail a little bit. So it's time to upgrade.
Okay, because they've had problems in the past, and I'll ask that tomorrow. Sunfish Ponds, the piers, do we need 2 piers? Are they gonna be ADA compliant, or are we gonna be able to, ADA on the existing one? We're gonna have to build,
We're ADA in the existing one. We may make one of them ADA compliant, or we may start with them both with just being this ADA compliant. Greg and I just hosted the Ohio River Fest fishing contest down here. You couldn't get any more people on this pier. I mean,
Right.
they were shoulder to shoulder casting. I'm stunned that nobody got hooked by a hook. I'm not kidding you.
all right.
There were poles splashing and flying everywhere.
But the other piers, are we gonna have to have an asphalt trail?
We don't if to be ADA compliant, we would have to do that, but otherwise we can leave them rustic, right? So the other thing is we might want to do is to create a natural prairie area here, so we could just have mown paths to get there.
Right.
Just to help capture the runoff, to help clean Sunfish Pond up a little bit.
Okay, yeah, the North Industrial Park land. I was gonna deal with this in Corpse plan, but it's not really an area conducive to isolated park activities of the nature of, they thought of pump track, skate park. The police department probably would have concerns. I know it's just a concept right now, but having a skate park in such a remote area, it's kind of a safety concern. This has just been brought up just recently in the course plan, so it's we talked about this before when Porter was coming in, that extra land there was gonna be maybe a dog park or something like that. But, it's just a concern, it'd be really beneficial to have it over here, but of course, whatever. The courtroom is when it was presented to us, the improvements a couple months or 2 months ago, it was $100,000. Now it's ballooned to 220.
Yeah.
Bill, to clarify, when you said us, do you mean the village board or this committee?
Excuse me?
When you said, when it was presented to us, was it this committee or the village board?
The village board.
Yep. So it was all roughly around 200,000 to do all the work. The 20 extra thousand came from the new, moving the window for the court clerk. I got an estimate for that. It was between 15 to 20.
I'll have to go back and look, but I thought it was presented as $100,000.
Yeah, we would do it in chunks.
We were gonna do it in chunks, but then Carol said, well, we have the money to do it all. So we already have funds on hand.
Oh, okay.
So that's why, the most expensive part is the protective, coating on the
Bollard.
glass.
In the glass, yeah.
Yeah, I think the protectant on the glass is close to 100,000, so.
I was just wondering because we were told 100,000 and, I realize stuff goes up in price and then see it 220,000. It's,
Well, again, these are estimates, so we're hoping they're on the high side. So,
has there been any documented, we have a police officer that sits there during court. Do we have any instances of security issues? There's always potential. There's always what if. Look at the ex-president on his golf course the other day. You can't protect everything. I see problems with cars, the bollards, that makes sense. That's a cheap fix. You just drill through and whatever. But has there been threats in the courtroom? We just handle traffic and drunk driving here.
They have a variety of things that they handle, and this is what was a recommendation from the marshal. The day and the times we're in, things are certainly crazy and different. The what ifs, you can play, it never happened, but there's many places that it said it would never happen here, and it did, right? So it's a decision that the board will ultimately make if they want to expend the dollars that we have already budgeted for it, to make it safe. But to my knowledge, there hasn't been anything, but I don't know that additionally either, right? There were things that were hotly contested on the village board just a couple of years ago that could have maybe gotten escalated beyond where they should have been, right? So who knows? It's to protect all the people that are serving our community here.
Right, yeah, I just wonder if there's any concerns presently. I could understand if Dane County, somebody rammed their car twice in the past 5 years or something like that. I see that as a problem. Even a bollard, the guy could buy the F-350 off us, and that's got some weight behind it. I mean, versus my little Versa, you know, it's gonna bounce off. I mean, there's so many levels of protection. And there's always risk versus cost. I mean, are people shooting in the municipal courts through windows? I mean, I guess you can find a security expert to recommend, you know, quite a few things, but is it really that violent, or the potential for it? Like I said, we have a cop sits there with a gun. Is a judge feeling unsafe, or? Go ahead, Mike. You have some expertise in that.
Not
Well, your
expertise,
wife
but
does.
experience, right? You know, when my wife is never privileged to talk about what happens in court, but there have been times she's gone and told me ahead of time that she was nervous about going in tonight. And can't go into detail of why. But that alone tells me that there's people out there that can be a threat. And they do deal with more than people that are just drunk driving and speeding. And also youth court can be, I mean, what do we do for our schools for protection? And, you know, our youth, we have to be very aware of too. So just my thoughts.
Yeah, and people are unpredictable, but they come in the building and, you know, are we gonna want body scanners next, metal scanners? I mean, I think that was talked about too. We need to get to that level.
Well, hopefully not. These were just items that we picked out of the whole recommendations from the court marshals. So these were we talked with the judge and Judd and I and the administrator, kind of went through the whole recommendation list. I mean, they recommended removing all the parking along the whole alleyway, and a whole bunch of other things. So we feel like what we're presenting is the best for everybody. Anybody can see everybody in this room through these windows. So everybody's really a target. So these were our things that we thought would fit the best. And
Okay, yeah, and like I said, I kind of had a shock when I saw, you know, went from 100,000 to 200,000. But yeah, thanks. I'm done.
Thank you, Bill. Eric, you had your hand up next.
Yeah, I just was wondering, from all the talk we heard over the last few months from the people coming in talking about the different parks and everything, are we gonna be working with them on some of this?
yeah, so as we work into these park designs, we want to incorporate each, say, area. So if somebody's in the Rivers Turn area, we're gonna send out letters and get them involved. We're actually, Stacy Harmon is working on a parks invite for these subdivisions, different subdivisions, and next year, I think we're doing 3 parks that we're gonna go visit, and send letters to the neighbors, and hopefully they'll come out and talk to us and say, hey, this is what we would like to see, and
I was
things
just
like that.
wondering, because we had the guy who came in and talked recently about some of the stuff. And then we had that one professor from the university about the tactile stuff. Are we like gonna talk to them about some of this, or is that not included this time, or remember? I think you remember, Judd.
So the university student that came and talked, she was talking more about natural resources and protecting some of those areas. None of those areas that she talked about or outlined in her area are part of this area. That was more to the north of Culvers, and then the western edge of DeForest on the other side of the interstate, where we don't have any park plans currently. There will be there should be a park north of Culvers at some point, but we're not gonna be planning that yet. We don't even, I mean, that's too far out, right? All the parks that we're looking at now are here. They're either existing or they're imminent to be coming along, right? Ivor Munson may be the one that's the furthest out. It just needs development to finish to get there, right? So Ivor Munson runs up to by Windsor's, where their splash pad is. Can't think of it. Cradle Hill Park. That one needs more development before we get to that parkland area. The rest are already existing parks, or will be opening up quickly, like Rivers Turn when that road goes through. And you had asked where that was, Dawn. That's this piece right here. So Blue Stem is here, it extends. This is ABS, their water tower is right here. So just to give you some orientation on where that park is, it'll be right here. What's that? Rivers Turn, yeah.
So that's right by me, isn't it? Well.
Yep.
I'm on the corner there. So, yeah, that's the one that has been projected. I'm right, over to the right more, down there. That's me. So it technically is that's the one that was planned all along.
Yep.
Isn't it? Okay. And that one's called what now?
We just have it labeled as Rivers Turn Park. We don't have a name.
Yeah, about 5 months ago, didn't we? About what we're gonna put in there.
Essentially, we had talked some general ideas,
Just
but
trying to clear it up so I understand what we went through and everything. That's all.
Okay, I think, Dawn, did you want, and then I saw Bill's hand again.
Thank you. I have a question about the police department, the two patrol, everything that you presented. Has that always been part of the public works, or I thought they had their own? Okay,
they've done them. They were always part of the CIP. It was never something that we presented. It's now kind of in there, so we're presenting this tomorrow to the board. I left it in for you guys as well, just so your general notice, understanding of what's happening with it. Those are all things that were part of the CIP technically in the past. It just wasn't something public services handled.
is it on this list here? The only thing I saw was PD building updates.
Down on the 400 replacement program offsetting costs, but then there's other vehicles and equipment. You see the second to bottom line of the non-green is other vehicles and equipment is 453,730. That number matches below with the offsetting money that we have on hand. So that equipment is into that area. So this is our CIP that we build is different than this is what Carol puts together. So pardon me if I don't know exactly if it's got to be where that is. Other vehicles and equipment is right in there.
Thank you.
Yep.
And this still hasn't been approved, though.
The CIP will all be approved. It gets approved when the budget gets approved,
November.
right? So the end of November, potentially early December. I don't think it's going to be end of November, I believe. So.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dawn. Bill, you were next.
Yeah, after Heidi gave her presentation, I looked at the maps closer. And I've contacted her, well, I've tried to, and she hasn't responded. In her presentation, she shows protected land status and two areas we're thinking of developing for parks come under that. One down by Sunfish Pond and the other at Baki. And I was just wondering, in the maps, it shows 95% protected status. And Heidi hasn't been, she hasn't gotten back to me. I asked her, what's the meaning of protective status? Do you know what that is? And if she could contact me? I emailed her at, her EDU, but no response. It just shows up on the map, those areas as protected, 95% plus. And, you know, that could affect our future land uses. Do you have an idea what fully protected?
It's in the court plan or that's from Heidi, because that's two
university.
different things. That's not what we're just,
No, in Heidi Putnam's assessment of areas, in those parks we are considering are in that property, you know, before we extend funds. Because we're talking about the, you know, expending funds for studies on those and things to do there.
I will have to look. I don't know where you're talking about, so I'd have to see what report? Is it the one she presented?
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
I'd have to,
the maps, if she could contact me.
I'll ask her. She has a full-time job now. I mean, so her
Oh.
duty with the university project was done and she's off
Oh, okay.
to the real world working. So she may just be busy doing those things.
Okay, but it just shows, you know, it's gonna be a future concern if we're gonna be doing things and the map shows, you know. And, you know, if she's done, I guess. Missed an opportunity. Thank you.
Chad, I guess maybe to elaborate from Bill's comments, you tell us the interaction, say, between ID's university project and how it maybe applies to the corpse plan or other village plans?
I don't know if Reese or Greg can correct me, but I don't know that Ben got that information relayed to him. They worked kind of in parallel at the same time, but as I recall, most of her stuff, again, I thought was to the north and to the west, so I'd have to review if she highlighted other areas. I think further south as well on River Road in the Triangle Corridor area, but like through there. Yeah, so I'll have to review that again to see if there's other areas that she's had and if you, and then it's certainly something we can discuss. I mean, just the board would have to officially adopt that plan and say that's what we're gonna put into use, right? So I think it's more of a guiding post for us, but I don't know that it's anything that's official that says this has been decreed from wherever.
Yep, and I think that was gonna be my follow-up question. I don't remember it being adopted or anything, so I would agree. It's just more or less a guide towards our core and other things. Oh, go ahead, Mackenzie.
For the errands vehicles, I appreciate saving time and whatnot, and they look like amazing tools. Are there any other attachments for it to get more use out of it, out of the year, as well as street sweeper type to clean up streets, sidewalks, that type of stuff?
Yep, so the attachments are a sweeper. So it would have a sweeper we could use in the roads for cleanup and things like that. It's got a blower and a blade. So those are the attachments for the unit. So we could use them for sweeping up, water main breaks. We would just need to sweep a little bit. We'd take that up there and sweep it into the hole or something like that. Yeah. But mainly they're mainly snow machines. We have typically have had 2 people this last 2 years, 2 people on snow removal, just for sidewalks. And it'll take them like 8 hours plus, depending on the size of snow, because it's all by hand. And then once we get done clearing the roads, the guys in the trucks need to get out and help them. And by the time that happens, they're shot. I mean, it's a lot of work.
Any other comments? Did you get what you needed?
Yeah, I think this is just a really good discussion, and we appreciate any comments, and that's all we needed. Thank you.
Yep, thank you. And I guess my comment, I appreciate everything that you put together. I'm looking forward to having a full picture with say all the budget. I've been told it's gonna be a difficult budget year, so I potentially would be looking to push some of the desires out a year if possible, but I look forward to that continued discussion. I would say the Aaron or like the snow plowing machines and stuff. If maybe you could, another thing that would help persuade me is how much time it would save and how much, say, cost that saves in man hours versus the buying of the machine. I think that would go a long ways, at least with my point of view. Okay, anything else? Thank you. 6.2 is discussion and the comprehensive outdoor recreation plan, draft 1 feedback. I guess I'm looking at staff as,
So you all got a copy of it before the last meeting, I believe, right? There was some discussion, didn't know if there was further discussion, feedback. We had a tent available at the Family Fun Night last September 10th, so a week ago Tuesday. And a lot of people stopped by to give feedback, fill out information. So Ben took that information in. And again, we've gotten additional comments online. If you go to engagetheforest.com, you can read some of those comments. So we're getting that feedback from folks. We got testimony tonight from Ann Seacher on that. So again, we're still accepting all that commentary. And if you have additional comments, I guess this is an opportunity for y'all to share those things with us. We'll compile all that stuff. And then Ben is going to be on paternity leave at some point here soon, whenever his first baby defines to arrive. He'll be out for a month or so. So final adoption of this is probably going to happen in December timeframe. Is that right, Reese?
Yeah, can you hear me?
we can hear you. You're a little bit low, but we can hear you.
All right, I'll try to use my outside voice inside. But yeah, so right now we do have the updated timeline on the Engage page on Engage DeForest. And so we're looking for final board adoption on December 3rd. We'll be bringing it to P&Z on November 11th, and then we'll bring it back for November 18th to public service. We are trying to wrap up public comment just so that we can put everything together and get that final document put together. And we're hoping to give everyone at least a month to review the final document.
Reese, you said you're hoping to wrap up comments. Is there a desired time you would say like all of our comments completed, or where you're gonna cut off, say, public comment, at least for incorporation in the next draft?
Yeah, so public comment on Engage DeForest actually has been cut off since September 10th. But I would say that if we could get public comment by this week, I think Ben was hoping to actually have a final draft to us this week, but we can ask him to push that off a little bit if you all need some more time for public comment.
Thank you, Reese. If I can speak for myself, I know I'm gonna have a hard time this week with my workload, but I hope to get some comments to you, so I would appreciate at least another weekend or so.
Sure.
Anybody else comments? Go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, I really appreciate that the section about the park improvement fees. We really need to take a look at that. It looks like we're in the park, with other communities, but other communities are a little higher that they charge. I'm not sure when the last time they were updated, but prices have gone up, and maybe we need to update that. Kind of kicking back on what Dawn said at the last minute meeting about pools, the strategic DeForest plan had that in there. last year, the village board decided to table that indefinitely. So I just hope it isn't like a school referendum where in a year or two it comes back. You know, kind of like the mountain bike thing has been 4 years. I think. From start to finish. Well, it's not finished, but just, it was voted no last year. Fireman's park plans, I mean, it's kind of vague in there. It refers to the conceptual plan. I don't see a conceptual plan on the website. I'm used to a lot of conceptual plans for Fireman's Park. Can we get that plan, or is it on the website? I don't think, a lot of things got taken off the website. It got reworked. You know, I forgot what study name that was. The guy came in 15 years ago. That was taken off. A lot of the comprehensive plans were taken off. The conceptual plan, you know, without the pool in there. Go ahead, Reese.
I was gonna say on that idea, actually, I think I do agree. I know that we had to take some stuff off of the website when we switched over, but maybe that would be a great Engage DeForest page, is that as we work through this next year, building more conceptual park plans, is that we could actually make that as one of the pages where then we include all of the, you know, future park conceptual plans for people to be able to go and review.
Excellent idea. Yeah, but if we could just, you know, at least send it to me. I don't know about the other people. Just a comment about the village, well, Ethan Place Park over on the other side of the library. Electric would come in handy not only for the library, but other events. That area was supposed to be a meeting place for the businesses there. You know, an inviting space, so it's not just the library. We kind of need a shelter of some kind there too. Doesn't have to be fancy, you know, just a lean-to type. I think that should be included in there. I mean, they built that 20 years ago and nothing's happened besides the rocks. Just something I noticed walking home the other night from family fun night, the splash, you know, bought splash pads. Are we maintaining those? There's quite a bit of hard water staining on the poles. Is that an easy fix, or?
It's we just found some chemical that we could rub on there. It's gonna be very time consuming project, but yeah, we did find some chemical that we can put on there.
I just noticed that in the dark.
Yeah,
Walking home.
yeah, there's a lot of hard water on there.
We got hard water in this village. All right, thanks.
Thank you, Bill. John?
Thanks, Jim. I have a question. Question on page 19 in the appendices. The last paragraph speaks about climate justice. And that word to me, like justice means the law or things. And I'm wondering if we could change that to perhaps promote a healthy environment. I just found that wording, I don't know, maybe it just kind of stuck out at me when I saw climate justice. So that was just an idea. I thought I would pass on. And then on page 37 in the existing parks and open space facilities, it lists down there by Rivers Turn Park, mountain biking trail. And I don't believe that it's a trail. I thought we used that for teaching or when we had the classes. So I'm wondering if that might confuse people because we are getting a mountain bike park. I don't know if the trail is that, do we have a mountain bike trail there that? I don't think so, in Rivers Turn Park. I think we have
Oh, what page was that?
page 37
Oh,
at the bottom.
These are comments.
Oh, no, I'm on the open space, existing park and open spaces. It's the blue one.
You said appendices, I'm sorry.
Oh, the first one was appendices. Yeah.
oh, Markham, yeah, mountain bike trail.
It also references the sledding hill.
Mhm.
And I think that there's a different. You said tonight the Rivers Turn Park is in a different location than where the sledding hill is. There's a naming thing.
Yeah.
Really? I didn't catch that.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Oh,
I don't mean to speak out of turn, but.
Okay.
Yeah, the whole development is kind of Rivers Turn, so it's,
Yeah.
you know, I get where you're seeing, it's like they're two different parks, Rivers Turn Exercise Park. No, that's the one off Innovation, and we were calling Rivers Turn Park the future park, I guess.
Another question I had is on page 40 in the comprehensive outdoor recreation plan. It speaks about disc golf, and it says the village currently has a growing population of residents interested in the sport. Well, in the appendices, that really wasn't anywhere in the top at all. So I'm wondering why. I don't want people to think that we are going to do this or that they feel that it's a top priority, because according to what people said in the questionnaire, 10% of the people wanted it. And there were a lot of other things that were higher than that. And the pump track also only garnered 5% of the people's votes or interest that they would like to have. And that's also mentioned in the next paragraph. So what I'm curious as to why these were put in there, unless you know something I don't know.
So it's probably a open space plan or court plan to court plan kind of reaction and thing. So disc golf might have had some reaction back 5 years ago, and now it has more, right? Pump track, I don't even think was a thing.
No.
I mean, it was a thing, but it wasn't a thing that we had even mentioned in our court plan 5 years ago, right? Now it's here because there's been discussion and talk of that in comparison to mountain bike parks, right? And a skate park has always been a topic of conversation here. I think those two things can be incorporated into one park area,
Okay,
but so.
I just,
And I think these are a list of things that, opportunities, again, that doesn't say that we're for sure doing them. They're things that we'll have to work through, and talk about, but through the planning process, unique recreational opportunities were identified. Trends and then things that we did hear about that maybe we didn't hear about previous years.
okay, thank you very much. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you. Bill, I see your hand.
yeah, Dawn, I think the Rivers Turn, mountain bike deal, it was originally concepted that, and Matt, correct me if I'm wrong, that it was going to be, it was allowed that they would train on the grass. And then I seem to remember that they wanted to have skills portions, you know, like mounted beams where it's kind of like somewhat like skate park stuff. You know, the mounted beam where you'd slide on it, that was one of the things. But that was presented, not really talked about, and that would conflict with this, if you had permanent objects around the sledding hill, you wouldn't want a kid sledding down the hill and run into some of that stuff. But I don't know why it's included, because the trails in the woods in Rivers Turn Park isn't allowed, and it's kind of contingent on us passing this corpse plan, the ordinance. The ordinance references the corpse plan as to the adoption of, the ordinance. We're gonna have to work on the ordinance depending on how this passes, but I think what was included was like a circuit track with skills. What kind of skills things would they have? Matt could help me out, because I know skate park.
Yeah,
Stuff.
so at one point I presented on some things that would be beneficial for mountain biking in the forest, and it's kind of an example of one of those things. I showed Rivers Turn Park, the one with the sledding hill, just to clarify which one we're talking about, and talked about having some possible skills features. So those skills features would be simply like elevated dirt that kids can roll over, what we would call skinnies, which you call kind of slides or whatever, which is just an elevated piece of wood that kids would ride
Platform.
across and
Yep. Bridge.
practice their balancing skills and things of that nature. And we do practice at Rivers Turn Park, usually about once a week. And so we ride around the circumference of that park. And so, I don't know if that was part of what we had talked about.
Nothing permanent structures.
I would love to see some
Well, these-
skills
yeah.
features there. I definitely think that they could be done in a way that would have no impact on the sledding hill, because there's plenty of space to put them without them interfering with that. So, but yeah, is that helpful?
Yeah. I'm done. Thanks.
Thank you, Bill. Anybody else comments?
I'll just say we'll get the mountain biking trail on page 37 is just I didn't know how none of us didn't catch that, but it's not a trail. It won't be there. Rivers Turn Park doesn't really encompass any of the woods. That's part of the Upper Yahara River corridor area. The Rivers Turn is very specifically to a manicured park area, mowing lawn and things, so.
I guess a couple of comments or general comments. I want to go through it in detail. I've only been through like about a third of the plan so far. But in general, I'd say it's well done. I was hoping for more visuals. Being that it's a park plan, I expected to have more pictures and things. I've been told that maybe some of that's coming. I think of like a comprehensive plan. I'm using this analogy, how the comprehensive plan is sort of the overall plan, and then we have neighborhood plans that supplement the comprehensive plan. So what I'm picturing is that we have this corpse plan, and then I think what the term I heard tonight was the conceptual plans, say for each individual park. So I would look for locations to clarify that in the corpse plan, being that these conceptual plans will be more or less, say, the blueprints of the individual parks when we get to those conceptual plans. Is that a correct thought, or?
I think we want to leave the conceptual plans being concept, right, until they get finalized. Unfortunately, I think we've seen that people view this document as like the end all be all, and I think we wanted to try to leave it somewhat open for interpretation or flexibility for changes that might come about, right? A lot of things change in 5 years' time. And if we're locked in because it says something here, and we say, oh, here's a concept for Ivor Munson, and it changes, people will use this and say, well, nope, this is what it said. This is what we voted on, and this is what you need to do there. So I think we want to be cautious of that. when we're dealing with individual parks, because things can change so dramatically by the time we get there. Like I said, Ivor Munson might be 5 years before we build it. And we could be at the end of that, and who knows, you know, Gaga Arenas might be big then instead of just pits. I don't know.
I mean, I think too, one of the things is that, you know, the comp plan is something that is a driver for the community. This comprehensive outdoor recreation plan is a guide. So it's not as like, you know, the end all be all, kind of like Judd said, to what we can or cannot do in the village.
But would you, I think I'm in agreement though, that like if you do a conceptual park plan or layout, I'll call it, that would pretty much overwrite whatever's mentioned here in the corpse plan, correct?
So like our concept plans that we're looking at doing next year, we're gonna be looking at what's recommended off the court plan and incorporate what's on the court plan in the concept plan. And then the neighbors around those parks and anybody in the village can look at those concept plans and be like, I don't know if we really want that basketball court there or at this park at all. Can we see that removed and put something else there?
Yep.
That's kind of what we're shooting for, not for next year's budget, you know, with the concept plans.
Yep, and I completely like that process. I just want to make sure that that's, say, clarified in the corpse plan, that that's something that we're hoping on doing, is having these more detailed conceptual plans to clarify what we have in here as a concept. Guess I'm using concept too often, but anyway, that's real good. Yes, that's my concept. Right, we can amend it, yeah.
We're gonna amend it.
And a couple other real quick things that I know off the top of my head is we have these different parks. We just ran into the one where there's Rivers Turn, or two locations of River Turn. And then there's the, what is it, the East River and the Baki Conservancy, or whatever we want to call it. In my view, I think we should sort of leave the names off of them until they actually get named, rather than having names now.
Yeah, we could do future park, as their,
Yeah.
keep it simple.
And the other concept I have is like looking at the map. A lot of the trails ended up getting covered up by like road names and stuff, and I would ask that some of that gets, I'll say, clarified. It's hard to tell, say, where some of the trails are, like, I mean, I don't know if I can come up with a good example, but you can see like in Western Green, the name was right on top of it. Or see like Innovation Drive, you have the name of Innovation Drive right over the top of the trail, so it's hard to tell what part of the trail actually connects. But that's, I guess I just mentioned that as that's one quick thing that I noted. I'd almost like to see even a map without trail names, just to be able to see the trails more clearly.
We could possibly look into our trails map that we just got done updating and put it in this plan.
Okay, well, those are my quick comments right now. I'll get more detailed things later. Any other comments, or Judd, Greg, Reese, are you good for now?
I think we're good. Thank you.
Thank you. Next agenda item, my phone's dying, so I don't know if I can read it. 6.3 surface water grant applications. Is that Judd?
Yep, so this is the next step for our rehabilitation of the Ohio River Phase 2. We're going out for a grant application from the DNR for a surface water grant. So there's a resolution that they need drafted and authorized. So I'm just looking for this body to recommend to the board that they approve this resolution tomorrow night at the board meeting.
Second.
Motion by Mike, seconded by Bill. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Thanks.
Item number 7, discussion items. There is none. Department updates, 8.1, public service update.
We had a water main break on the top of Rigstead at Sunset. We're going to we repaired the water main break, and the work there will be metered. We're going to redo that. Basically, that section of Sunset, we're going to cut out and have it repaved. The folks who did the work agreed to take care of that project for us. So that will be happening in the next couple of weeks. Next week, they'll start the final sewer phase across Highway V. We'll have to cut into Highway V and Highway I a little bit to extend that sanitary sewer up through there. But that project, again, like I said, will start next week, and it should be wrapped up in a couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks after that. Pepsi Way should probably be getting started at some point here in the near future, relatively soon. It's the T grant. Once the T grant things are all finalized from the state of Wisconsin, that's when that work can begin. So we're, like I said, the Quick Trip would like to get Pepsi Way done, and ideally paved so it's ready to roll, and then next year the other sections can go, but weather will dictate how quickly those things will get done. The Leaf Vac truck will start to roll out in October. I think it's the 7th or the 14th. Usually early on the start of the year, it goes around the village every week. And then as the heavy leaves come, takes us about a week on one half of the village and then the next week on the next half. So people can always still bring them down to the compost center themselves as well. So it's an opportunity for them there. I think that's about all I have for public services.
Okay. You have a comment? Or?
Yeah, 2 questions. Williamsburg Way, the cutouts, are they gonna be, by the ice skating rink? Are they gonna be temporarily filled? They've been gravel. I mean, South Hill is in front of Brian's house has been fixed and.
Yeah, the ones on
and they had that
Williamsburg Way.
conversation, Yeah.
Yep, those are gonna be done here in October. So that'll be completed in October.
Yeah.
And that's on the developer, so.
Right,
Yep.
right. It's just I drive over it once a week and it kind of, where's the hole gonna be this week, from rain?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And then, I was contacted last week from a resident about trash and he had a complaint and I've related to Judd and Bill. And out of that discussion is this resident is encouraged to complain to or have a concern to LRS. And it's more efficient. They can call here, but then we have to call RLS. So LRS is taking concerns. And have we ever asked LRS for a list of concerns as a quality check? Just to follow up to see if LRS isn't telling us something or that they've been missing on a regular basis. Have we ever?
So Judd and I are in communication with LRS via email, phone calls, a lot.
Yeah.
I don't think we've pulled the data from them, but we can. We've had sit down meetings with them and trying to get it squared away to where, all right, we need to figure this out now. We can't keep missing the same residents, trash and recycling. They're giving us game plans, on what they're doing to fix it. And that's kind of where we've been as they're giving us their ideas how they're fixing it and working with their garbage, and recycling crew people. So that's kind of where we're at.
That's just the number one issue, it seems like, for residents, that, and their mail was a minute late. And they aren't plowing close enough to the curb on the first time up the street. And it's just, those are the things that, the quality of life. I mean, they may never, I've never called the fire department in 37 years. I've called the police department a few times. Last week, as a matter of fact, and very responsive, but garbage, yeah, as you guys know, that's a real hot topic. And I realize the problems we had in the past, but yeah, it's frustrating when somebody calls you and you don't know if there's other cases, but I'm not going to micromanage that. I left it to you guys to get explanations, but like I said, that's a real hot issue for residents, as you know.
Thank you, Bill. 8.2 Recreation and Community Enrichment Update.
Yeah, so the farmer's market is actually moving tomorrow. I think last month I mentioned it was going to be moving the first meeting the first Tuesday in September. That got pushed back a little bit. So it's moving tomorrow to the new location on Stevenson Street. So that portion of the street will be closed from Jefferson Street to DeForest Street tomorrow for the farmer's market. We had another great Yahara River Fest. So we're excited about that. That was our 15th year. And then this Friday, we have our DeForest Quick Trip Athletic Complex naming rights ceremony. That's at 11 a.m. out at the complex. So if you're free and you want to come, feel free to stop by.
Thank you, Reese. Thank you for everything. Yeah, Bill wants to know if there's donut.
There'll be hot dogs and popcorn.
Hot dogs and popcorn. So 8.3, Natural Resources Update.
Really only update that we have for this is next week, Stan Tech is looking to start the Yahara River Stream Bank Restoration Survey. So they're actually going to be going out into the river and taking survey shots of the stream banks and getting ready for their design work for next year's project. So if somebody asks you, hey, what are these guys doing out in the river? They're surveying for the stream bank restoration project. So.
I guess I'm curious, is there a location targeted or are they searching for the location?
So basically the canoe launches, Veterans Park, Western Green Park, and then the restoration project will start from Western Green all the way actually from the South Street to River Road Bridge by Woods Glen. That's the first section. And then we can get it up on the map. That might be. Got it. And then the second section will be from the second River Road Bridge down by the daycare to Blue Stem. So South Street right there, all the way to the bridge there. And we'll be looking at the canoe launch possibly over at Daly Road right there. And then River Road by the daycare all the way to Blue Stem area, that area. Yeah, there's another canoe launch takeout right there. So those are two pretty big, large projects and yeah.
That'll be nice. I'll note on your first segment, though, there is some private land. So I'm assuming you're taking that into account. Or they will.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a whole lot in the private area that we're doing, so.
Greg and I did fly the drone today and check too. The staff will be going in. There's some trees down throughout this area. So we'll be looking to cut those trees out, move them, the blockages and whatnot. I know the Friends has a cleanup event coming up as well soon, if I'm not mistaken.
Saturday.
Saturday, so we hope to get some of those bigger hanging items, no pun intended, out of the way first, so.
Thank you. Anything else with that update?
Nope, that's it.
Any other business that lawfully comes before this committee? Dawn?
Question for Judd or Greg. I know we're culling deer this fall when the leaves come down. And you probably can't predict a date. Is it going to be are they using bow and arrow like crossbows, or how is that being handled? So many people have asked me and I don't really know. So if you could tell me, that would be great.
Yeah, so we're looking to have our PD be the sharpshooters here, and we're going to be building a raised stand, and they'll be using their rifles.
Is it down in the ABS?
Yep, down in the ABS area, away from homes, and we'll be 8 to 10 feet up, shooting down. So,
And you have an idea of how many you want to call?
yep, we're looking at 75 to 100
Okay.
right now. That's what we just talked about.
And the venison will be available to those who want it?
Yep, so it'll be kind of like we did back in 07, 08. It'll be a first come, first serve sign up. So ahead of time, we'll have a sign up sheet. People call us, we'll put their names down and call and order.
I'm assuming
Thank you.
A cost,
What's that, Jim?
you know, a projected cost per deer, or is there?
It'd be donated, it's free to the resident. They would do their own CWD testing, which we would recommend, so.
Thank you.
And the timeline would be anywhere between December and February, so,
Okay.
yep.
Yep. Anybody else? Okay, item number 10, adjournment. Is there anybody willing to make a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Bill, seconded by Don. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned at 7:38. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Reese.